The inaugural Group of 20 Anti-Corruption Working Group meeting is underway in Cape Town. This gathering happens as corruption continues to undermine global integrity and robbing South Africa of its resources in both the public and the private sector. Let us now bring in my colleague, SABC News reporter Abra Barbier, who's tracking that meeting for us. A very good afternoon to you, Abra. Tell us what the latest is where you are.
Good afternoon to you as well. Yes, I am, as you've mentioned, at this G20 meeting. Very interesting. They're discussing corruption and how corruption affects democracies around the world. But what we are hoping for, aside from just complaining about it and talking about corruption, what we are hoping that the resolution at the end of the 3 days of this program is going to be that they're actually going to be tangible outcomes that would assist the country and other member states in how they clamp down on corruption in their countries. But with me at the moment, I have the chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Prof Somadoda Fikeni. Sir, your department, I'm sure you also have challenges that you deal with. I mean, we were speaking off camera now. What are you hoping what kind of resolution are you hoping is going to come out of here over the next 3 days that will aid you and your staff in what you have to deal with on a daily basis?
The first one is the understanding that to fight corruption, it should not just be government alone. It should be mobilization of entire society and also multinational arrangements to make sure that crime now knows no borders. The second one are institutional reforms, where you look at the entire ecosystem of what has encouraged people into the space of corruption, from recruitment into training, into performance assessment, integrity testing, and all those filters, management of discipline. And the fourth one, which is very much important as we modernize, technology, especially in the Internet of Things, in the cyberspace, means anti-corruption fight should equally be at par with those who are trying to corrupt the system in terms of technological sophistication and the use of technology up to AI in fighting corruption, in anticipating corruption, and in retrieving whatever is stolen in that sense. So it should be an ecosystem where government, private sector, civil society, international agencies work together. It can no longer be left to the police, left to the prosecuting authority. It is everybody's concern, because once corruption takes root, everybody suffers, especially the most vulnerable. Protection of the whistleblowers, you name it, lifestyle audit. So in South Africa, we've learned a hard lesson. We've seen the ugly face of corruption and the devastating effect, and we're recovering from that. That's why a shift from just focusing on compliance into a value-based approach, where a new norm, a new moral code, new ethical society is needed.
So one of your counterparts or one of your colleagues in one of the other entities mentioned to me earlier on that South Africans seem to be up in arms because there's talk of corruption every single day that's being reported. He says it's not that corruption has gone up. It's always been there. Now we are just finding out about just how rampant it is. Are you finding this in your department as well? Are you having to deal with more complaints?
Certainly there is now more consciousness. Remember, Zondo Commission and other media reports on corruption were highly publicized. During that time, people were able to understand the modus operandi, how corruption works. And therefore, public consciousness has grown up. But more important, which I think is a civic education lesson, people now realize that there is nothing like government money out there. It's your tax. It's your money. If you do not watch over how your money is utilized, next time taxes will go up. and you are the one who is going to see water not coming out of your tap, load shedding. You are the one who is going to see potholes and roads not being repaired. You are the one who may not even receive your SASSA grants if you do not act as an active citizen and be a watchdog to make sure that everybody who is involved in corruption is held to account.
I think something that the minister said that really stood out to me was something along the lines of just how detrimental corruption is to a democracy, and that we don't always equate, yes, we equate in money, like you said, but we don't always equate how it affects us on a day-to-day basis. So just one question before I leave you. You also deal with the public image of the public service. What message do you have? What recourse do South Africans have when they go out and when they find that they are not treated the way they should be treated at government institutions? What can they do?
I do think that they can actually write to the Public Service Commission or even go to its website and report that incident. We've had the public reporting people using government vehicles to go collect alcohol from some shop, and we've followed up and taken action. Therefore, every service delivery concern can be reported to an appropriate structure, but Public Service Commission hosts the anti-corruption hotline. They can send this information to any department, and this can be done even when you are anonymous and therefore protected from revealing your identity, as long as you give as much detail, you send that picture that you take, you send that video that you take, because anti-corruption war is every citizen and resident's battle that we should all join hands to do so.
Professor, thank you so much for your time. There we have it. Members of the public, if you have any issues at any public service department, make contact with the Commission, send them an email, go to the website, and they will follow up. And that is according to the chairperson of the Commission. Back to you in the studio.
All right. Thanks very much, my colleague there, Abra Barbier.